Are you making great quality content, but you're just not getting views? I understand your frustration, and we're going to talk today about how we may be able to increase the number of views on your content. Hi, my name's Patrick, and I've been doing YouTube now for a little over 4.5 years. I'm also a professor of business and marketing, and I teach a digital marketing class. I feel the frustration, and I have the same frustrations that you have when you make good quality video, you poured your heart and soul into it, and then the clicks just don't come. And even more frustrating is when you dig into the analytics and you're getting good audience retention time, but you're just not getting the views that you feel that that video should get. The reason you're not getting the views most likely has to do with your thumbnail and title. And so in today's video, that's all I want to do is focus on the thumbnail and the title. Now, I'm always telling my digital marketing students I could hire Ken Burns and ask him to produce a video for our channel. And if I upload it, it may still not get views, because if there is not a thumbnail and a title that makes people want to click, they won't ever get to experience the amazing video that Ken Burns has made for our channel. So we have to make sure that we're putting out a thumbnail and a title that's actually going to entice somebody to want to hit that click. We hear the term clickbait and we instantly think negative thoughts, because normally when we think of clickbait, we associate a thumbnail that has nothing to do with a video. But I believe, like a lot of things in life where a word or a phrase can have both positive and negative meaning, I believe clickbait can be a positive thing. When the clickbait is producing a thumbnail that is literally like bait bringing the fish into you so you can hook them, but we want to make sure that that enticing thumbnail relates directly to something in our video. And so today, what I'd like to do is show you one of the thumbnails that I had on a video back the first summer when we started posting to YouTube. Man, they were rough. But we're going to rework that thumbnail so I can show you what I've learned over the years and how I use thumbnails along with titles. I really believe those two items have to work together in order to get people to click. Now, just remember, when I'm using the term clickbait, I want you to think positive thoughts in the sense of I'm going to put something out there that makes people want to click on my video and watch it, and whatever they're clicking on, they're going to feel like that is what is in the video. So I just don't want anybody saying, hey, you're teaching us to do clickbait. I'm teaching you to do good clickbait. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump on the computer, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up a video from that very first season. It only has 873 views in 4.5 years, and maybe the reason is because the thumbnail just isn't that good. So we'll look at this thumbnail, and you can tell what I did. I tried to take a screenshot, or I did take a screenshot of a Doppler, because this video was about us driving through multiple tornado warnings on our way through Iowa. Unfortunately, you can't really tell what it is, or can you read that font? And we'll talk about fonts here in a minute. But ultimately, too many of us make the mistake of creating our thumbnails on laptops, desktops, and even tablets where they look really good when they're enlarged. But when you shrink them down onto a mobile device like a smartphone, we can't even tell what they are. And how can you get someone to click if they can't even tell what your thumbnail is about? So what I recommend to my students is it's okay to create on a larger surface, but what you need to do is you need to ultimately shrink that down to the approximate size of what somebody on a mobile device will see to see if that thumbnail is really going to be effective. Now, I use Canva to create my thumbnails. You can use whatever you want, but I am going to demonstrate how I'm going to make a brand new thumbnail for this video. So I've already went in and uploaded 3 photos that I want to use for this thumbnail. Because this video is so old, I had no photos or anything. So what I did was I went in and took some screenshots. So it's not going to be the best quality, but at least it'll give you an idea of how I create my thumbnails. So I'm going to go in here. I've already uploaded, and the first photo I'm going to use is the photo I'm going to use for my background. Now, I chose this because it's lightning right in down the center of the highway. So I'm trying to show a potential viewer with this particular photo that there's danger in the area, because you see the lightning, you see that kind of pink colored sky. So I'm going to use that as my backdrop. Now, the second photo I'm going to use is a picture of me rubbing my head. I love using faces with expression. And because what happens is when you can put a face on the thumbnail with some expression, that helps tell a story to a potential viewer. So real quickly here, I'm going to remove the background. And this is one of the reasons I love using Canva. It's super simple to use. And right there, boom, the background is gone. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply that. Let's go ahead and hit flip it around. Now, normally when I'm doing these, what I prefer to do is make the face as big as the thumbnail if at all possible, because remember, it's going to be really small, and if you use a small face, nobody's going to be able to tell what the facial expression is. The problem is on this particular clip, because I didn't stage the photo, my arm's there, it's kind of in the way, all right? So I have a couple options. One is I could go ahead and cut this in a little bit, but then it kind of looks weird with my hand just dangling. So the other option is we're going to have to make this a little bit smaller. We're going to kind of split the difference here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring that in a touch. I'm going to go ahead and slide my face over because I really want the highway to show up here, because I think that, again, the highway tells the story that we're on the road, there's danger, there's lightning, all right? I may even bring that down just a little bit. Like I said, normally I want these as big as possible, but in this case, I'm kind of restricted. Then I'm going to go ahead, and normally 2 photos is what I like to use, but in this case, I felt there should be a third one because I think a photo of the Doppler will help to bridge the gap of what this story is about. So I'm going to remove the background on this Doppler image. And again, remember, these are just screenshots. Normally I would try to take stage photos to get exactly the shots I want. But for this demonstration, and to show you that you could potentially go back to your old videos and make new thumbnails, really for 2 reasons. Number 1, it'll allow you to practice making thumbnails. And number 2, you never know. Maybe a new thumbnail will help you take an old video that's maybe slowed down or not doing anything and revive it and give it new life. So I'm going to say that is okay. And I want to position this right down here. We're going to make that just a little bit bigger. And I'm going to try to get this, doesn't have to be perfect at this point for demonstration purposes, but you get the idea. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and add some text. I'm going to come over here to the text box. I'm going to add a heading. I'm going to move this up top here. And don't worry about the size. We can go ahead and change the size. Now, I find that I want my text to be really big, really bold. It has to be something that they can read down when it's in that small size on their mobile device. Now, my general rule of thumb is 1 to 3 words. A couple times I went over that a little bit, but normally 1, 2, 3 max words is what I shoot for. The other thing is I want to pick out my words very carefully. I want those words to invoke an emotion. So in this case, what I'm going to do is we are going to use, and I think you have lots of options here. This is the point where I want to tell you, I normally make a minimum of 3 thumbnails for every video. I will make a thumbnail just to get the process started, let it set for 24 hours, come back, and usually I'll go, no, that one's not good. I can do better. And so I have created up to 5 thumbnails before I found the one that I really wanted. So I recommend starting your thumbnail process early so that you have time to create multiple thumbnails to get one that you think is going to work best for you. The other thing is, if you don't make a good thumbnail, your video starts off slow, don't be afraid in that first 24 hours. Go back in, make a new thumbnail, learn from what you're seeing as far as the results. But I'm going to use the word tornado. Now, I could use lots of different words. Maybe I could have went with warning. Maybe I could have went with danger. But in this case, I want the word tornado because there were tornadoes that night that we were dodging. And so I think that's kind of a focal point. Also, choose your fonts wisely. If you go with these like really small fonts or really fancy fonts, they're going to be hard to read when they're that small. So I like to go something thick and wide that will really pop on the screen. So I'm going to use this Anton. And I'm going to go ahead and make this even bigger. Because again, the bigger you can make this, it's going to then really stand out on the thumbnail. And then finally, little things, little effects can really help a viewer read the font. And so I'm going to go into effects, and I'm going to put a shadow on this, and I'm going to do a white shadow. And then I'm going to set that transparency to 100%. I really want that popping. I also want this thing let's see. Yeah, let's really have that pop, and we'll have it go in that direction. Let's maybe bring that offset back just a little bit. And I think I'm going to make this maybe just a little bit larger. Because again, we really want them to see that word. You have to take when you're making your thumbnails, take the view. If you were somebody on YouTube scrolling through, you need something that's going to catch your eye in a split second as you're scrolling. And then that hopefully will get them to stop. And then that'll take us to step 2, which is our title. We're going to go ahead and upload the new thumbnail. So let's go ahead and change the thumbnail. And I've already saved a copy of this on my desktop named Tornado. Upload. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now, next step is really that title. Like I said, the thumbnail will get people to stop. The title is going to bring them on into the video. Now you can see the old title was Driving from Des Moines to Kansas City During a Tornado Outbreak, EP2, Going West. Going West was the name of the series. I'm going to go ahead and leave the episode 2 Going West. I don't think that's hurting anything. But what I want to do now is when somebody is visually scrolling through and they see tornado, they see a guy rubbing his face, they see a Doppler with lots of red, now we need to go ahead and put something in there that really makes them want to find out how did this story end. And so maybe I would do something like driving our RV, RV being the key word. RV is going to help with search, and it's going to let them know this isn't just a guy driving a car down the road. He's got an RV that he's trying to take through. Driving our RV in severe weather. Now, the question hopefully will be raised is, how does this turn out? So we have the thumbnail, stop, we've got danger, we read the title, and then hopefully that will convert people into actually clicking on the video. Now, just like I mentioned, I will go through 3 to 5 thumbnails before I actually make a video live. I do the same thing with titles. A lot of times I write down possible titles, keep a list running, and slowly the title will get better and will end up being a much better title in the end. So, but for this purposes, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. And now we can come back to this maybe in a month and let's see if we see any increase in views. Now you might say, well, how is this going to help a video that's 4.5 years old? YouTube does like to feed up older videos to people. So it's possible that even being 4.5 years old, possibly this might make a difference. But at minimum, by going back and changing thumbnails on older videos, it gives you a chance to really practice and work on thumbnails and titles. So I'm a professor, I have to give you homework. Here's what I want you to do. Find an older video of yours that didn't perform the way you thought it should. Watch the video, figure out what something in there would be a key moment that you can use to recreate a thumbnail around that event, and then create a new thumbnail, write a title, and make sure one leads into the other and pulls that viewer in so that they click on that video. Go ahead and give that a try and see if maybe that will, at minimum, get you thinking about how to make your thumbnails and titles better. And who knows, maybe you'll revive an old video. What questions or comments do you have? Please leave them down below. Hopefully this will get you thinking about how to make better thumbnails and titles, which I think ultimately will help you get more clicks on your videos. Until next video, good luck creating.